Okay, welcome to Worldwide Hustler. My name is Matt Albert, and today we're going to be talking about 3 creative ways to buy real estate without cash flow or without credit. So without further delay, roll the footage. Okay, welcome back. So like I was saying, 3 creative ways to buy real estate. And the first one that we're going to be covering today is owner financing. If you've never bought a piece of property before, this would be a great opportunity for you to learn how to buy real estate without going to a bank and do it traditionally. Normally, a person would save up money, and it takes a while, and they have to have credit. So therefore, creative real estate buying was developed. So I did not make these techniques up. These are things that I've learned over the years, and I've actually used in my own experience. So hopefully you will be able to also. So the first thing we're going to talk about is owner financing. The good thing about owner financing is that you find a piece of property, and they're not all going to be this way, and the owner is willing to sell his property, but he maintains the mortgage. So a lot of times this works really well if the owner owns the property free and clear and they don't have any debt. But if the owner has some debt, that's okay. What the owner will do, they will essentially become the bank, and then they will turn around to you and sell you the property. So what you need to do is you can go down to your stationery store where they sell contracts. That's right. You can go down to Office Max and things like that. I would rather you get with a lawyer. That way they can just drop a contract, a simple contract between you and the seller buying the property. So you as a buyer are going to sign a promissory note. The good thing about doing this owner financing is that the closing is going to be much faster. And why is the closing going to be faster? Well, I could tell you why. There's not going to be any banks involved. There's no government entities. There's nothing. It's just between you and the seller, and that's it. So this is going to take place much quicker. Another good thing is you're going to have cheaper closing cost. Because since you are not having to go to the bank and do anything, you're not going to have too many closing costs. Now, in some cases, there might be a couple $100s. It depends. Now, this is between you and the seller. The closing costs can be anywhere from a few $100, could be a couple $1,000. It could even be 20% down, if they're not that motivated. And that's what's going to make this deal happen, by the way. People want to say, well, why would somebody that owns a property become the bank and sell the property? They're motivated. They maybe it's been on the market for a while and they can't find anybody to buy the property. So motivation is your best friend at this point. The next thing we're going to talk about, which we kind of did, is flexible down payment. Like I said, it can be anywhere from a few $100. It could be zero down. They might just say, you know what? Okay, I trust you. We're going to do this contract. You don't have to have any money down. But I mean, normally you're looking at giving them maybe something. Just not a 20% down payment like you normally would. And also a good thing about owner financing is if you don't have good credit, let's say you have bad credit, right? Your credit's bad. You have bad credit. This is good for you because you're not going to be able to get a loan anyway. Or maybe you just don't have the financial means to do it. You don't have the money, the financial means. So in either case, this owner financing is going to be good because it incorporates all of these. So owner financing is a very good way to do it. It's kind of like looking for a needle in a haystack, but I promise you, if you keep looking, you'll find a piece of property definitely where the owner will sell owner financing. Okay, our next one's going to be a subject to. And somebody says, well, what does that mean? Okay, a lot of loans out there, FHA loans, VA loans, even some conventional loans, they are assumable, meaning you can assume that loan. Now, the thing is on that one is that you do need to have some type of credit. Okay, because you're going to assume their loan. So the bank has to be involved in some way, shape, or form. So they're going to say, okay, let's check your credit. If it looks good, okay. And then another thing, there might be some kind of a down payment involved in this. And it might not be the 20% like a traditional conventional loan, but there will be some type of down payment probably. So now the seller can help you out with this, and they might be able to give you a credit or something like that. But this is a subject to, meaning you assume the loan, which is a very creative way. It's nice to know that you can actually assume somebody's loan. The bad thing is that for the seller is that if you assume his loan or her loan, they can't use that loan until it's paid off. So let's say it's a VA loan. So if I had a VA loan and I sell you my property, you assume my VA loan. I'm going to go out here and want to buy another piece of property, but I can't use that VA loan yet because you have assumed it. There's not too much to know with the subject to loan, except that you're assuming a loan. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but it is a creative way to buy real estate. Okay, so for our next one, we have the lease option. So if anybody in here has ever rented a apartment, a house, anything, if you've ever leased a piece of property, essentially that's what this is, except you have an option to buy. So what will happen here is that the owner will say, for the most part, a lot of times they'll want something down. It just depends. Again, the down payment, okay, I'm going to say DP, the down payment can be a few hundred bucks, maybe. Could be, maybe $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. I mean, I don't know. It could be 2 to 3K. It could be. Again, this is between you and the seller. You guys will have to negotiate and see what you come up with. And the more motivated that the seller is, the less likely that they're going to want you to put down a lot of money, because if they're motivated, you can kind of get that down some if they really want to get that property out of their hands. So you have a lease with an option. And another thing about the option is normally it will have a due date at some point in time. So it'll say usually, okay, within 2, maybe 3, or maybe even up to 5 years, let's say. They'll say, okay, we're going to have what they call a balloon payment. Okay, a balloon payment. All a balloon payment means is that it blows up. So that means after 4 or 5, whatever you guys agree on, you will have to go and get financing put on the property. But meanwhile, you have the property. So this is an excellent way to get into the property, because in 5 years, you're going to be able to cash flow. If you're buying this property and you rent it back out, you're going to make a cash flow, because that's the whole reason why you're getting into real estate. And as long as you're making money every month on this property, you're going to be able to put this aside. And at the same time, if your credit was a problem back then, well, 5 years from now, you should have an excellent credit score. So you should easily be able to go and find financing and put on the property. The one thing I will say about the lease option is you want to make sure that the contract specifies, okay, it needs to specify certain things. So what does that mean? Okay, who's going to pay for maintenance if something were to happen? Normally, if you're in the property, the owners are going to say, hey, if I lease it to you with an option to buy, then you are going to be responsible for maintenance. You are going to be responsible for repairs, right? You are going to be responsible for homeowners association fees, if there are any. A lot of times you're not going to probably see this in too many places, but if there is an HOA fee. So this is stuff that you can negotiate this part here, but since you're in the property living there, or not, you're going to buy it, but you're going to probably turn around and lease it back out. That's the whole reason why we're doing this, right? I mean, you're going to be responsible for it. But the good thing is that since you're the landlord, technically, if you buy this and rent it back out, this is going to be deductible for you, all these expenses anyway. So you'll be able to write these off. You just got to get with your CPA on that. So there's not a lot to know about the lease option, except it's what it is. It's a lease option. You're leasing it with an option to buy the property. So it's an excellent way to get into real estate. It's a house hacking way. All three of these I just described, these are all house hacking ways to get into real estate. So I hope this has given you some kind of benefit and helped you out. If you have any questions, please ask below and I'll do my best to answer. With any of these transactions, I would definitely consult with a lawyer and your CPA just to make sure that your bases are covered. If you found value in this video, please share with other people. Please hit the like button. If you're new, consider subscribing and hitting the bell, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you.